Please remain standing for a minute of silent prayer and meditation. Majority Leader.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members, honorable representatives. Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advingula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Marabida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calix Sorbiano, Caminero, Canama, Campos, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Predinil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Co, Cuanco, Culliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Tusalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Los Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Eriguel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Feriol, Floyrendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Gary Richard, Gary Sharon, Gasataya, Gachelian, Heron, Buana Cristina, Gomark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Alusos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lesatin, Liachon, Lee, Lim Kay Chong, Lobregat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudadato Suarto, Mangudadato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maliñaon, Guaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Pimisia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocomora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roqueari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansea Escelita, Swansea Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirley, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Beretta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Vilarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villaperte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Viulago, Yap Arthur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Mar Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 211 members responded to the call.
With 211 members responding to the call, the chair declares presence of a quorum. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that the approved Journal number 38, dated November 21, 2017.
any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up reference of business and bills on first reading. And please direct our Secretary General to read the numbers and titles of the measures and such other matters.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of bills and resolution on first reading.
Reference of business, bills on first reading, House Bill 6644, creating the Bureau of Madrasa Education in the DepEd, Representative Belaro.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 6645, establishing a national marine parks in the country, Representative Belaro.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries.
House Bill 6646, providing for the placement of tourist markers, Representative Belaro.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill 6647, establishing the annual Philippine Science and Technology Invention Expo, Representative Belaro.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill 6648, increasing the excise tax on tobacco products, Representative Tan Angelina.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 6650, providing that 100% of the service charge collected in hotels and other establishments be distributed to all covered employees. Representative Tugna.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 6651, mandating all toll operators of all major expressways in Mega Manila to establish and utilize standard and unified electronic toll collection system. Representative Advincula.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 6652, prescribing steeper penalties to owners and drivers of trucks who load them in excess of their payload. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 6653, granting legal residency status of certain aliens. Representative Yap Arthur.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 6654, mandating the establishment of public crematoriums. Representative Defensor.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 6655, the Barangay Workers Act. Representative Defensor.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 6656, providing for an across-the-board increase of 10,000 pesos to the basic salary of all elementary and secondary public school teachers. Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 6657, providing for a comprehensive civil registration system. Representative Aragones.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill 6658, establishing Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Calauan Campus. Representative Aragones.
To the Committee on Higher Education and Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 6659, amending Republic Act 10361. Representative Atienza.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 6660, renewing the franchise granted to Radio Marine Network Incorporated. Representative Romualdo.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
House Bill 6661, establishing the linangan ng likhang bayan to ensure the protection, promotion, and development of the country's communal traditions. Representative Antonio.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1441, expressing profound condolences of the House of Father Romeo Hoxon in Tengan.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1442, expressing profound condolences of the House on the demise of veteran actress Isabel Granada. Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1443, calling to investigate by appoint appropriate committee the unfair and anomalous practice of public utility companies. Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1444, direct the appropriate committee to investigate illegal recruitment. Representative Bertiz.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1445, urging the House Committee on Games and Amusement to inquire regarding the alleged irregularities and abuses in the conduct of small town lottery. Representative Villapuerte.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1446, commending and congratulating Teresita Sen Winwin Marquez. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1447, commending the Iglesia Ni Cristo. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1448, calling for the concurrence of the Republic of the Philippines of the Powering Past Coal Alliance Declaration. Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Climate Change.
House Resolution 1449, direct the appropriate committee to inquire into the recent reports of the Budol-Budol gangs. Representative Benitez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1450, congratulating Ms. Karen Santos Ibasco. Representative Bagaching.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1451, congratulating and commending Ms. Maria Teresita Winwin Sen Marquez. Representative Tambunting.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1452, recognizing and commending John Lirmas Chicano. Representative Deloso Montalia.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1453, calling for the Committee on Transportation to exercise its oversight function. Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1454, commending Engineer Jonel Heron Bernante. Representative Bag-Ao.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1455, directing the AFP to provide detailed briefing. Representative Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1456, directing the DILG to present to the House Committee on Local Government the results and criteria of the Seal of Good Local Governments of 2017. Representative Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1457, calling for a formal congressional investigation to the order a total halt on all reclamation projects. Representative Atienza.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1458, commending the heroic act of medical intern Ms. Charlene Handik. Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1459, authorizing the increase in the base pay of military and uniform personnel. Representative Bilaro.
To the Committee on Appropriation.
Communications letter dated October 2 of Alan S. Borromeo, Regional Director, DPWH.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
Letter dated 9 October of Attorney Jose Jobel B. Villamino, OIC, Deputy Administrator, LRTA.
To the Committee on Appropriation.
Letter dated October 11 of General Ricardo Arbisaya, Retired Administrator, NIA.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
Annual Audit Report of the Marawi Water District.
To the Committee on Appropriation.
Annual Audit Reports on various state colleges in Zamboanga City.
To to the Committee on Appropriation,
Annual Audit Report on the Metro Cotabato Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
Triennium Audit Reports on various water districts,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2012 Annual Audit Report of the Sipalay Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Audit Report on the Metro Midsayap Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Report on the Adjong Memorial Polytechnic State College,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Audit Report on the Bicol University,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Audit Report on the Binalbagan Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Audit Report on the Pigcawayan Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
Triennium Audit Report of the Bago City Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2015 Annual Audit Report on the Escalante Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
Biennium Audit Report on the Sagay Water District,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
2016 Annual Report of the ERC,
to the Committee on Energy,
2016 Annual Report of the Bureau of Customs,
to the Committee on Ways and Means,
letter dated October 13 of Catalino SOE, Officer in Charge, DILG,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
letter dated October 13 of General Ricardo R. Bisaya, Administrator NIA,
to the Committee on Agriculture and Food,
letter dated October 16 of Eugene U. Caballero, Municipal Mayor, Manukan, Zamboanga del Norte,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
quarterly financial and physical accomplishment reports of the Court of Tax Appeals,
to the Committee on Justice,
letter dated October 24 of Nestor A. Espinilla, Governor, BSP,
to the Committee on Banks and Franchise and Financial Intermediaries,
letter dated October 24 of Nestor A. Espinilla, Governor, BSP,
to the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries,
letter dated October 24 of Michael G. Aguinaldo, Chairperson, COA,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
letter dated October 25 of Roger Edino, Deputy Director, BSP,
to the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries,
letter 25 October of Jose Voltaire R. de Caprente, Municipal Mayor, Rosario, Cavite,
to the Committee on Local Government,
letters dated November 3 of Roger Edino, Deputy Director, BSP,
to the Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries,
quarterly reports on financial and physical accomplishments of projects under assistance of disadvantaged municipalities,
to the Committee on Appropriation,
committee reports, report numbers 478 to 480 and House Bill numbers 6681 to 6683.
to the Committee on Rules,
Report number 481 on House Resolution number 1463.
to the Committee on Rules,
Report number 482 on House Bill number 6686.
to the Committee on Rules,
Report numbers 483 to 486 on House Bill number 6688, 5262, 6689, and 6690.
to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up unfinished business.
Any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 65177, reported in Committee Report number 402. Please direct our Secretary General to read the title of the measure.
Any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Bill number 65177.
House Bill number 6517, an act providing compassionate and right of access to medical cannabis and expanding research into its medicinal properties.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary status is that we are in the period of sponsorship and debate. I move that we recognize the distinguished gentleman from the 1st District of Isabela, one of the author of the bill, the Honorable Rodolfo Albano III, for the sponsorship.
The Honorable Rodito Albano is hereby recognized for his sponsorship speech.
First, to interpolate, Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the gentleman from Buhay, the Honorable Jose Atienza Jr.
Mr. Speaker, we are already in the period of interpellation and debate. I finished already my sponsorship speech the last time.
The manifestation of the majority leader was the guide of the chair.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, but I already finished my sponsorship speech, and I think we are now in the period of interpellation and debate.
Majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor of the bill has already delivered his sponsorship speech. And now we are about to begin the interpellation, and our first interpellator is the Honorable Jose Atienza from Buhay.
The distinguished Lito Atienza is hereby recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, Majority Floor Leader, distinguished sponsor, and of course the body that is now present and participating in this debate on this very important measure that could really be affecting lives of millions of Filipinos, young, old, poor, rich, male, female. We will all feel the effects of this piece of legislation. That's why I believe that it should be very well studied, and all issues involved and members of Congress participating, so that when we are made to vote on this measure, the votes of each and every member shall be an informed decision and not just on mere say-so or hearsay. Kaya maraming salamat po na pinagbigyan nyo kahapon na humingi kami ng postponement ng aming interpellation sapagkat nakita namin kakaunti na ang miyembro natin sa floor. Ngayon po namang meron tayong sufisyenteng bilang, naniniwala po ang inyong lingkod na magkakaroon ng bunga itong aming pag-uusap na ito at pagbibigay ng lahat ng mga katanungan na alam ko namang sasagutin ng ating ginoong distinguished sponsor. To start with, Mr. Speaker, the premise of the gentleman sponsor of all this measure on legalizing medical marijuana or medicinal marijuana is based on the constitutional guarantee that a state should project, promote, and protect the good health of our people. Kaya ang ating paniniwala ay dapat ang ating ipinapasang batas ay ligtas at makagagamot sa mga problema sa kalusugan ng ating mga mamamayan at hindi magbibigay ng problema sa anumang pagkakataon. So I'd like to ask directly the sponsor, yung po bang provision na yan, Section 11 of Article 13, ay ang inyong basihan sa inyong paggawa nitong panukalang ito ng pagbibigay ng paraan upang ang tinatawag niyong medical or medicinal use of marijuana be given access or be given to our people, young and old. Is it based on the Constitution, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and it's based on the right to health.
Therefore,
Hindi lang po yun
naniniwala
yung
kayo.
basis nung sinasabi yung ano sa dangerous drug law na yun.
Therefore, naniniwala kayo, ginoong sponsor, na ang cannabis sativa na panggagalingan itong element na ito na merong tetrahydrocannabinol ay makabubuti sa kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan.
Hindi lang po yung ingredient na yan na makakabuti sa ating mga kababayan. At kung pwede natin i-paraphrase yung ating sinasabi, hindi po para sa lahat ng ating kababayan ito, kung hindi po para doon sa mga nangangailangan po lamang na mga kababayan nating may sakit.
Ito yung ituturing ninyong gamot sa may sakit.
Exactly po. Pero gamot na sinasabing hindi yung gamot na nakakagaling, Mr. Speaker, kung hindi gamot na nakaka-alleviate or may palliative effect doon sa mga nangangailangan ito. Katulad po ng sinasabing CBD, nakakatulong po sa mga pasyente na may autism, epilepsy, cancer, At sinasabi rin po doon sa mga trial studies, nakakapatay po ng mga cancer cells, pero hindi pa po yan guaranteed 100% at nakakainiigpisan po ang kanilang pain. Kumbaga, iniigisan ang kanilang karamdaman at yung mga sakit na ang THC naman, yung tetrahydrocannabinoid na tinatawag, ay neuroprotectant and it protects the nerve and brain and from brain and nerves. And it's also for lung cancer, epilepsy, and Alzheimer's.
Marami pong binanggit na mga kalagayan ang ating kagalang-galang na sponsor. Masisela ng sakit po yan. Kaya tatanungin po siya ng isang simpleng tanong at hinihingi ko po simpleng sagot. Naniniwala po ba kayo na ito'y merong medicinal value, marijuana?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Naniniwala po ako na ang marijuana ay may medicinal value. But I am not claiming that cannabis can cure, Mr. Speaker. Neither can pharmaceutical drugs, for that matter. But as medicine, it has therapeutic effects and palliative effects. Palliative meaning it relieves the pain with numerous study proven that cannabis does. Therapeutic, on the other hand, that cannabis is a treatment that ameliorates the medical condition, often for as long as the treatment is continued for a short while after treatment is ended. For example, magbibigay lang po ako ng halimbawa, kung papayagan niyo po ako magsalita pa, gagalang-galang na galang-galang na colleague ng aking ama. For example, there is no cure for AIDS, but cannabis can slow down, as clinical trials have proven, the harm done by HIV and extended the person's life. Chemotherapy is a treatment for cancer, but it may not work for every patient. There is no treatment that can cure 100% of patients and 100% of the disease. Not even antibiotics, which is often cited as a complete cure for bacterial infection. In 1999, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization established a goal to cure 85% of TB patients in Russia, but reach only 80% success rate, with 75% of the disease cured and 5% that had otherwise successfully finished treatment. You know, Mr. Speaker, to attain 100% cure of cancer or the simple cold means that we already discovered immortality, the source of life, which only comes from God, Mr. Speaker.
Malalalim po at malalawak ang mga binanggit ng ating kaibigang sponsor. Narinig ko po kayo sa isang interview na sinabi po ninyong ang inyong panukala ay pagbibigay daan lamang sa tinatawag niyong herbal medicine. Tama po ba yung sinabi niyo yun?
Hindi lang po herbal medicine, Mr. Speaker.
Hindi, narinig ko po sinabi niyo, herbal medicine.
Yeah,
Yun po ba
herbal,
inuulit
pero may
ninyo on
therapeutic.
the floor
Yeah, may
that this particular measure talks about not only chemical medicine but as more of as an herbal medicine.
May dagdag pa ho yun at baka ho hindi lang ho na nakuha yung lahat ng aking nasabi, Mr. Speaker.
Ito po ba yung herbal medicine o hindi herbal medicine?
Hindi lang po herbal. Pwede ho maging herbal medicine kasi may herbal medicine naman.
Yung po sinabi ni Joy, hindi po sinabi ko yun eh. I am asking a question which you have stated publicly on mass media that it is an herbal medicine.
Herbal meaning coming from plants. And then yes, Mr. Speaker.
At marami po kayong binanggit na mga sakit na maaaring mapagaang. Hindi naman mabigyan ng solusyon, kundi mapagaang sa maraming paraan. Yung po ba paninindigan ninyo sa mga sinabi niyong yon sa pamamagitan po ng solid information and research done by the professionals on medical care and problems that you have mentioned?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Paninindigan ko po yun.
Meron
Kahit
po ba
hindi po ako
kayong
doktor.
maibibigay sa amin ngayong impormasyon na base po sa pag-aaral, pagsusuri ng mga dalubhasa sa mga sakit na sinabi po ninyo? You mentioned very critical illnesses of the mind and body that we have to appreciate. If you have a research on this, and this proposed piece of legislation is anchored on solid study, then there is no reason why we should not accept it and embrace it.
Yes, Mr.
Tulungan po
Speaker.
natin ang mga nangangailangan ng tulong.
But I have to tell you, there's no research here for the simple reason that we banned marijuana for the longest time. So I can cite to you researchers from other countries, especially in University of California, in Israel, if you want me to read it, and in Germany, Mr. Speaker. That's why they're allowing already medical cannabis there in their countries, Mr. Speaker. Like, for example, in the 1960s, Rafael Mekulam, ewan ko kung mangkukulam ito, Rafael Mekulam, the father of medical cannabis research and an Israelite scientist, was the first ever to study the structure of cannabis and its 480 natural components, including its 66 cannabinoids, and became the first to isolate THC. He believes that along with many others, that all components of the cannabis plant will exert some therapeutic effect more than any single compound can.
Ang binanggit po ng
Also, in Germany, Mr. Speaker, 2010, reviewed by researchers, reports that since 2015, there have been 37 controlled studies assessing the safety and efficacy of marijuana and its naturally occurring compounds in a total of 2,563 subjects already, Mr. Speaker.
Ang binabanggit po ng ating kagalang-galang na sponsor ay mga testimonies ng mga sumusuporta dito sa measure na ito. Ang tanong ko po ay, meron po bang pagsusuri, pag-aaral, research, laboratorio na masasabi natin sa lahat ng ating mga miyembro, ito ang aming pinagbabasihan, kaya namin aaprubahan itong measure na ito. Dahil sa ngayon, Mr. Speaker, I know for a fact, in the United States, in the Philippines, wala pong study na nagsasabing ang marijuana is beneficial. In fact, the Philippine Medical Association, the Philippine Psychological Association, and all other medical organizations in the Philippines are all against this measure, simply because they have solid, informed research and laboratory tests showing that marijuana is not a medicine. It will only bring the patient to another level of consciousness, and it may even endanger his good health. Ang sabi nila, pag itong gamot na ito, itong marijuana ito, ay ginamit sa mga bata, maaari yung mga batang yon ay magdusa na, permanente sa kanilang kalagayan. In their mental state and condition, marijuana could aggravate their problem. If given to mothers lactating or pregnant, it may affect the fetus and the child to be born. It will even hamper the development of the brains of the child. So therefore, yung aking pinagbabasihan, itong ating posisyon, ay base sa mga pinag-aralan ng ating mga manggagamot, ng mga organisasyon na mayroong pong tunay na ginagawa para bigyan tayo ng mga effective and safe drugs in the country. The Philippine FDA is not in favor of this measure because they have no basis whatsoever sapagkat wala rin sila research. The US FDA even warns, binabalaan ang US Congress, huwag niyong ipapasa yung batas na yan sapagkat yan ay sisira sa ating mga mamamayang Amerikano. Yung problema nila sa opioid, magmumultiply. Magkakaroon naman ng cannabinoid problem. Kaya ang research and studies that I have are based on professional information that they have analyzed and giving us the opportunity to study. While the gentleman has testimonials. Makakabasa po siya ng mga testimonial na sumasang-ayon na ito'y nakakatulong. Eh meron din po naman tayo mga testimonial. Ang sarili kong testimonial ang aking paniniwalaan. Sabi niya, ito'y makabibigay ng solusyon sa mga mayroong problema sa seizure, epilepsy, at mga problema ng mga batang may konting dinaramdam sa kanilang pag-iisip. I'd like this body to know that I have 2 adopted children at home suffering from these seizures and epileptic fits. We have never subscribed to the idea that cannabinoid, marijuana, for that matter, any derivative of this substance is the solution to the condition. And I'd like to give you the good news. Hindi namin sila binigyan ng marijuana kailanman, subalit ngayon, magagaling na po sila. Yung isa totally blind, yung isa suffering from ADHD, severe, but they have not used marijuana and they are well through tender, warm, loving care of the family. So this piece of legislation, Mr. Speaker, we take the position, will harm rather than do good to our people. Again, I reiterate, if he has any study, I'd like and I'd appreciate that we be given a copy. But if he has no study, one, this is a clear violation of our Constitution. The Constitution specifically provides, Section 11, Article 13, which he uses, and I'm also using. The state shall protect and promote the good health and never endanger the health of any citizen. Marijuana is endangering people who are using them. Kaya ito po'y hindi po nasagot ng malinaw ng ating galang-galang na sponsor. Kung sinasabi niya, may mga natulungan. Yung mga natulungan, mapalad. Pero hindi nangangahulugan, makakatulong sa lahat.
We will provide you with those data that you're asking. At saka, kung pwede lang ako mag-comment, Mr. Speaker, hindi naman talaga pwedeng ibigay sa buntis ang marijuana o kahit panigarilyohin mo yung isang buntis. Hindi rin po pwede. Or any drugs for that matter. Nakalagay naman po sa mga ibang drugs na yan, sa mga label nila. It's not for, if it's for pregnant women, kailangan konsultahin po nila yung doktor nila. Pero if you want studies for that, we can give you tons and tons of studies from different countries already that allows medicinal marijuana. Especially in the United States now, there are already 30 countries who had allowed the use for medical marijuana. And under there, you see, in February 2010, University of California Research Center for Medical Cannabis Research, marijuana ought to be first-line treatment for neuropathy and other serious illness. Hindi ho magbibigay ang mga Amerikano ng mga ganyang fake news kung hindi po totoo, Mr. Speaker. So, kung ang iniisip niyo po, Mr. Speaker, yung recreational marijuana dito sa medicinal marijuana, hindi ho magkakatugma ang ating pananaw. Kung ang iniisip niyo, itong marijuana na ito, dahil dito sa bill na ito, explicit na sinasabi ng bill na ito, hindi po pwede sigarilyohin itong marijuana at hindi rin pwedeng ibigay in its raw form. So, i-extract po natin medicinal, kailangan aprubahan pa ho ito ng FDA, kailangan po tayo magkaroon ng research muna dito. So, mauuna po yung research, titignan natin yung efficacy, magkakaroon ng clinical trials, at pag inapprove ng FDA itong gamot na ito na maibigay sa mga epileptic patients na sa Mamswan marijuana, dito sa mga clinical trials na susubukan nila, doon lang po lalabas ang gamot na ito.
It is very sad note today, Mr. Speaker, to hear the gentleman admit that there is no research yet to establish that cannabinoid is medical in nature or medicinal by nature.
Paano, Mr.
He
Speaker?
mentioned and he stressed that the measures, the research, and the implementation of the law will take care of itself by being foolproof on abuse. Let me remind everyone, rugby is a very innocent product used for adhesion of elements. Cough syrup is a medicine for cough. It alleviates the problem of anyone suffering from severe coughing when you give him cough syrup. But it is abused and it's difficult to control. Sa lansangan po ng Metro Manila, makakakita kayo ng nalalangong mga bata na ang kanilang pinagkukunan ng kanilang pagkalango ay rugby sa plastic bag. Marami po kayo nakikitang mga kabataan na nalalango sa kanilang pag-abuso ng isang kapaki-pakinabang na gamot o elemento at tinatawag nating cough syrup. Legal, pero inaabuso. Kung ito'y bibigyan pa natin ng paraan, ang gagamitin ng mga tao ay may elemento ng marijuana at meron talagang substance na kinuha sa marijuana, paano po kukontrolin na ang lahat ay hindi dapuan ng mga sindikato sa lansangan, sa mga barangay, makawala itong elemento ng gamot na tinatawag nila at maabuso rin maging sanhi ng paglala ng ating problema sa droga. Today, we are in the middle of an anti-drug war, as vicious as it can be. Many lives have been sacrificed in the altar of our common desire to rid the country of the drug menace. Bubuksan natin ngayon ang isang maliit na pinto na tatawagin nating medicinal use of marijuana. Saan mapupunta? Saan mapupunta ang pananaw ng mga kabataan? Okay naman pala yung hinihitit ko eh. Okay pala ang marijuana sapagkat ang Kongreso nagpasa ng batas na pwede nang gamitin yan sapagkat kapaki-pakinabang yan. Yan po ba'y nakita ng ating sponsor na maaaring mangyari?
Mr. Speaker, I think the gentleman is misinformed about the use of this medicinal marijuana. Because, you know, we're not, if somebody wants recreational marijuana or yung marijuana na nakaka-addict, dito sa bill na to, kailangan mo pumunta sa isang doktor para humingi niyan. Kung gusto mo ng recreational marijuana, pupunta ka sa kalye o sa Cordillera para bumili ng recreational marijuana. Pero kung pupunta ka sa doktor at hihingi ka ng S2 license, S2 reseta sa doktor para humingi ng recreational marijuana, sigurado hindi ka bibigyan ng doktor na yon at ibang klaseng marijuana ang ibibigay sa iyo ng doktor na yon. Kasi ang marijuana dito sa bill na ito, yung marijuana na hindi nakakahay pero nakakagamot. Kasi yung marijuana na sinasabi mo, ito yung marijuana na hinihitit sa kalye na accessible lamang doon sa mga drug syndicates na nagbebenta ng marijuana na ganito. Kaya lang sa atin, dito sa bill na ito, hindi ho yun ang lalabas doon sa research. Ito ho yung gamot na ilalabas natin para doon sa may mga epilepsy, doon sa may mga cancer lang na nangangailangan. Kung ako yung bibili ng isang tao, bibili ako ng marijuana na para sa recreational, doon ako sa kalye bibili or doon sa Cordillera. Hindi ako pupunta sa doktor at hindi ako saklaw ng batas na ito. Mr. Speaker.
Ngayon po inuulit ng ating kagalang-galang sponsor na itinuturing niyang gamot itong ating pinag-uusapan. But earlier he said it should not be treated as a medicine because he has no proof. He has not presented any proof to prove that it is medicine, that it is medicinal. Now he calls it a medicine. Nasaan po ba tayo? Ang ating po bang pinag-uusapang cannabinoid?
What I'm saying,
gamot,
Mr. Speaker,
o ito po ba'y substance na nagmumula lang sa marijuana?
what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is that the entirety of marijuana, it cannot cure. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker. But yung mga substance na nakukuha sa marijuana, yun po pwede hong for pain and for palliative care. Yun lang ho sinasabi ko.
Kung sasabihin po natin painkiller ang kailangan, even under the present laws we have, there's already a way to prescribe painkiller medicines. Kung ang pag-uusapan po natin problema ng mga merong seizures and epileptic fits, meron pong mga gamot dyan kung gugustuhin ng mga kinaukulan. Gamot po yun na pinag-aralan, sinuri ni laboratorio at sinabi ng lahat, gamot ito na makatutulong. No doubt, no risk except for some possible side effects, but it is a medicine. But this measure that we would want to call medicinal marijuana bill cannot be supported by any study that it is a medicine. And when he says that it is an herbal medicine, that even is also questionable. Alam po ba ng kagalang-galang na sponsor na merong Administrative Order number 172, Series of 2004, ang FDA, na herbal medicines that contain addicting drugs that are banned from the country cannot be called herbal medicines. It cannot be considered an herbal medicine. And definitely it cannot be called a medicine because it does not cure and it is not a medicine. So nasaan po tayo? We are going to act on this measure on the basis of what the sponsor claims as it will be a subject of a serious research. Maganda po yun. Hindi po ba mas magandang magkaroon muna tayo ng serious research that beyond among our doctors and our physicians and our specialists, they agree that marijuana is useful to the kind of cases that he has mentioned? Hindi po ba magandang pag-aralan muna at hindi yung ipasa ninyo ito at mag-iingat tayo sa research na gagawin? Prospectively.
Dito sa pag-aaral na...
Therefore, it's an admission that it is not yet to be considered as a safe medicine at all. And therefore, the statements of those specialists who are against it, I mentioned the Philippine Psychological Association, the Philippine Medical Association, composed of about 20 organizations of Filipino physicians, specialists in all kinds of fields of medicine. They are against this measure. Nakikiusap sila sa ating mga congressmen. Huwag niyong ipasa yan. Sapagkat hindi makatutulong, makasisira sa ating kalusugan. So therefore, I'm even considering it as a violation of our constitutional guarantee that everything that we pass should be to promote and protect the good health. There should be no doubt it will promote and project the good health of our citizenry. Marijuana, to say the least, will be doubtful on this particular requirement. Mr. Speaker.
So what's the question?
At this point in time,
So what's the question, Mr. Speaker?
since there are so many co-sponsors, I'd like to invite any of them to join the discussion. I'd like to make an exception. If they have a proof on what I'm asking, let them come forward and participate in the debate so that our members will be well informed on the issues. Not the word of Congressman Albano, not the words of Congressman Atienza, but on solid research that any one of them, 63 of them, may have in their possession, I would welcome to be informed.
I quite don't understand the question, Mr. Speaker, because the premise is so long, Mr. Speaker. So I would ask my fellow sponsors if they would like to share some insights on medical marijuana, and I'd like to call Congressman Bullet first, and then next Congressman Teves.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority Leader.
I'm suggesting and moving
Mr. Speaker,
that the co-sponsors be given a
to
chance.
resume the sponsorship of this measure, I move that we recognize the Honorable Bullet Haloshos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon po.
The chair has not ruled yet. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please proceed to our Honorable Congressman of Manila. Mr. Speaker, ito pong panukala na ating ipinapasa dito sa Kongreso ngayon is a very, very important bill. And napakasakit po sa ating mga pasyente that we are all misinformed because of the demonizing effect of the term marijuana. We have been hearing all throughout this afternoon the talk about marijuana, about the bad effects of it. Unang-una, Mr. Speaker, not any word in the bill that says marijuana. Ito po ay nakakasira sa imahe ng panukala na ating isinusulong ngayon. Because it is a prohibitive drug. Doon po sa tanong po ng ating kagalang-galang, the gentleman from the party list of Buhay, no, maisagot lang po natin na we are not trying to establish something new here. We are not even reinventing the wheel, as I say, no. Ito po ay ipinasana sa iba't ibang bahagi ng ng ibang mga states of US and even Canada, which has done specific or in-depth research on the benefits of the so-called drug. In fact, bigyan po natin ng recognition yung 33 states and Canada, which has more of the capability to do further research, who has the finances and the technology to see if really that this so-called drug has benefits or is it even harmful for their citizens. Hindi naman po siguro natin na maisasabi na itong mga states, 33 and growing, ay nagkakamali. You have mentioned, Honorable Gentleman, na madami pong umaangal. Yet, it doesn't seem so kasi mas madami pong states ang sumasali at nagpapakita ng suporta na idagdag sa ilang mga states na pumasa not only the medicinal use but recreational, which I will not get into. Because, Mr. Speaker, hindi po recreational ang pinupush natin. We don't even have to discuss the bill that has been passed in the US or other countries because it's a totally different animal. Ang bill na pinapas po natin dito sa Pilipinas is the bill to do further research on this miracle plant called cannabis. Hindi po paggagamit or pagsusmoke ng drug na marijuana. We are not trying to decriminalize the use of marijuana in our country, Mr. Speaker. What we are doing is to extract the medicinal component of the plant which has medical proof na meron po talaga itong CBD or cannabidiol. Ito pong cannabis has two components. It has THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, which gives it the more euphoric high. Ito po yung sinasabi na bawal po sa bansa natin. Ito po yung sinasabi natin na illegal sa ating bansa. Ito po yung sinasabing ginagamit ng mga drug addict. That is not what we're trying to pass here, Mr. Speaker. Ang ginagawa po natin ay bigyan access ang ating bayan or ating medical profession o mga doktor, yung mga pasyente, na i-extract po yung THC, which is the illegal component of the drug, and yung CBD, yung cannabidiol. Ito po yung analgesic form. Ito po yung nakakatulong. Ito po yung may magandang benepisyo, nakakatulong sa mga sakit ng ating mga mamamayan. Yun lang po ang pinupush po natin. I think the gentleman is misinformed when we are trying to pass a bill. It's not cannabis na bawal. Ito po, we cannot do further research. Yun po yung binabanggit niya. He would like us to come in front to support, to show any medical research that's proving that there is medical proof that there are curative components of the drug. Hindi po natin pwede gawin yun if we do not pass this bill. Bakit? Because it still stands under RA 9165 that it still stands as a prohibitive drug. So hindi po natin pwede galawin to. All we are asking is to open or to pave the way para mabigyan ng sapat na research para makita po talaga natin na meron po talagang gamit sa ikabubuti ng ating mamamayan dito sa ating bansa.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry to say that the gentleman from Zamboanga did not answer my challenge. Show proof that it is medicinal. Hindi yung kanyang sariling testimonial. Kapag yung testimonial ng lahat will not amount to anything when we're talking about legalizing a certain drug, ang dapat po rito is solid research ng mga kinauukulan upang maituring nating ligtas at nakagagamot, to be called a medicinal element. Kung nga sasabihin po natin, ito po yung kapakipakinabang sa mga gumagamit, ito po yung nakakatulong sa katulad ko, yun po yung testimonial. Pero pakitaan po natin ng talagang pagsusuri, inuulit ko po yung aking paanyaya. Baka yung iba merong maipapakitang pag-aaral, pagsusuri, tatanggapin po natin. And if it is convincing enough, then we will probably join them in the effort to give our people a choice. But in the absence of such study, a testimonial of whoever, kung sino man sila, ay walang value pag ang ating pinagdidibatihan at pinag-uusapan ay gamot na makatutulong sa lahat. And when he says that marijuana is different from cannabinoid, marijuana is different from the element that they will be extracting, again, we will have to beg to disagree. The substances you will be getting from the marijuana sativa o cannabinoid basic form ay galing po sa marijuana yan. So it's really a marijuana extract and a marijuana substance, which we will have to convince ourselves with is beneficial and not harmful. Mali lahat ng mga doktor ng Pilipinas sapagkat mas tama yung sinabi ni Congressman Albano at ni Congressman Halosos na ito'y makabubuti at hindi makasasama. Ganun dapat po ang ating maging tema ng ating desisyon. Sapagkat yung nakabubuti sa ilan, maaaring makasasama sa karamihan. And if the studies show that, and the existing legislation, laws that are in place, administrative orders that have been issued to protect the good health of our people are in question, why are we going to pass a law that will make an exception? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, kung pag-aaralan, di gumawa tayo ng batas, pag-aralan, hindi po giving access to substances from marijuana. Huwag natin tawaging compassionate and right to access to substances that may be medicinal. Hindi po tama yung pamagat at hindi tama po yung tema. Kung ang panukalang batas, gagawa tayo ng research, pag-aaral, susuportahan ko po yun. Pero kung ang ating batas na pinag-uusapan, giving everybody access to cannabinoid, which is marijuana, then it is a dangerous law that we are considering. Kailangan ito yung pag-aralan natin mabuti at hindi natin aksyonan ng ganun-ganun lamang. All the medical practitioners of the land and not the testimonials should be of value in our deliberations. Ako'y nagpapasalamat sa kanyang pagbo-volunteer na magbigay ng kanyang sariling testimonial, pero hindi po yun ang ating dapat pagbasihan. What is good for Congressman Halosos may not be good for 1 million Filipinos. So what we are talking about is what will be good and safe to the millions of our people who are dependent on the action to be taken by Congress.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, ang pinupush po natin dito, hindi po sa mga millions nating mamamayan. We are only trying to give access to the patients with debilitating diseases. So ito po yung mga pasyente na may sakit that ought to seek medical relief through this plant. Alam niyo po, ang information ngayon is everywhere because of technology, because of Facebook, because of YouTube. Doon po sila ang ating mga common mamamayan ay tumitingin at napapansin na mas nakakatulong po itong component para sa kanila. I think it is also a crime if we deprive our citizens of the right to look for other means to cure themselves. Ang problema po dito sa ating bansa, bawal po itong medicine na hinihingi po nila, na kailangan po nila. Kaya ang ginagawa po natin ay nagbibigay konting pangbubukas para makagawa na tayo ng research, para mabigyan ang mga pasyente Hindi po yung mga normal na mga mamamayan natin na kailangan. Because we are only providing or we're only giving access to those patients that have debilitating diseases, which is monitored by no less than our Department of Health, no less than Dangerous Drugs Board, no less than PDEA, Mr. Speaker. Even our very own president, nabanggit po niya, that if it's for medical use, nakakatulong po sa ating mamamayan and mas mura than all these chemicals na ating piniprescribe ng ating mga doktor. Siguro po makakatulong sa ating mamamayan kung mabigyan ng pansin at maipasa na po natin itong bill natin na Compassionate Cannabis Act.
Mr. Speaker, the gentleman, including the main sponsor, Congressman Albano, have been repeating and repeating the word makatutulong. Kami po naman, ang aming paninindigan, mapanganib dahil wala tayong solid research na pagbabasihan. They keep on repeating that children, people affected by this or afflicted with certain diseases will be alleviated in the suffering. Pero yun po hindi backed up by studies and research. These are based on testimonials. We are making a law for everyone. We cannot be influenced by testimonials alone. We have to base our decision on what is being said by the professionals and those who are really in the know of the subject that we are talking about. And up to this point in time, wala po silang naibibigay na prueba na ito ay suportado ng ating mga manggagamot. Ito'y suportado ng mga taong sabi nila nakinabang. Ako naman nagsabi sa inyo, nakinabang din ako pero hindi sa marijuana. Nakinabang yung dalawa kong anak sa pamamagitan ng tiyaga, pagmamahal, pagkalinga, at pagbibigay sa kanila ng mga gamot na pinag-aralan na at sinuri na ng ating pamahalaan. We have pain-killing drugs. We have fentanyl. We have Keppra. We have Abilify. And we have a dozen other drugs which are already well-studied that could alleviate pain. So why should we venture into a substance that has been classified as a dangerous drug under our existing law? Ang sabi po ng ating Dangerous Drugs Board, shabu is number 1. It also alleviates pain. Marijuana is number 2. And cocaine is number 3. All of these substances alleviate pain. But I'd like you to listen to the parents who have been victimized by marijuana addiction. Ang mga batang nagpakamatay, nag-suicide dahil nawalan sila ng tamang sentido. So the dangers far outweigh what the gentlemen are presenting. Testimonials, but no proof of genuine, conclusive, solid research. If they will change the nature of the law that they are proposing, that we are authorizing a research on the matter, I will support it. But the nature of the bill as it is now prepared legalizes the use of substances derived from marijuana, which is the dangerous portion of the proposed piece of legislation. At ito po'y makikita nyo sa title mismo, access to what we consider as dangerous drugs. Yung title mismo, bakit hindi natin gawing authorizing the physicians to prescribe? Bakit yung pasyente ang ating bibigyan ng karapatan? Alam niyo dahil sapagkat wala tayong kasiguruhan. Kaya yung the burden that could be the after effect of this measure will be blamed on the patient and not on the physician. Marami po dito mga inconsistency na hanggang ngayon, mag-isang oras na po ang ating interpellation, ay hindi po nila nabibigyan ng linaw.
Mr. Speaker, isang oras na po tayo nag-interpellate dito. And I'd like to go back to even the title. It says everything po. Yung sinasabi po natin at tinatanong mo sa akin, you'd like to know more research done. Yun po yung exactly what we're trying to pass, Mr. Speaker. In fact, The title says, an act providing compassionate and right to access to medical cannabis and expanding research into its medicinal properties. Kaya po natin hindi ako makabigay ng saktong research dito sa ating bansa because up to now, it's still a prohibitive drug. We are not trying to take it out of the classification that it is a drug. What we are trying to do is to take out the medicinal component, do further research para mabigyan natin ng lunas ang ating mga mamamayan kung meron man. Yun nga po yung point natin, Mr. Speaker. We have to do further research. And this bill says exactly that. Kung mabigyan tayo ng pinto na maibuksan to, and ma-prove po natin, then maybe we can go again. And I can stand here again in front of everyone para ipakita kung ano po yung research na nagawa ng ating mga doktor. At least we can prove that there is some medicinal properties with this so-called cannabis. Now, Mr. Speaker, this is no different from opium. Opium is an illegal drug. Opium is an illegal substance. But it also has a component that we use every day sa ating mga ospital. You know, the basic component of morphine is opium. Is from opium. There is no difference, Mr. Speaker. Ganun lang po ang hinihingi ng ating sponsor. Mabigyan po natin, matingnan natin. Because even opium does not cure, but it does have palliative effects. Ito po ay nakakatulong sa sakit ng ating mga pasyente. Ganun rin po ang cannabis. But it's a lot cheaper. And mas madali po because wala pong opium eh. I mean, we have to import it from abroad in a form of morphine. Pero iyon po ang component ng itong sinasabi po nating droga, which is opium, is also morphine. Ganun rin po ang bill na pinapas natin. So that's all we are trying to say, Mr. Speaker. Mabigyan natin ng butas, mabigyan natin ng chance na mapag-aralan itong cannabis. Para masabi naman natin na meron talagang curative effects or palliative effects or medicinal benefits itong bill. Because I don't think first world countries like Canada, like US, like all these other countries that are passing it, are only doing it to endanger their whole citizens, their own citizen in their very own country. Because they have found proof that there is medicinal properties na nakakatulong sa ilang sa kanilang mamamayan.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind the gentleman of what he mentioned. That in the United States, opium or opioid, the substances derived from opium, is now giving the United States a very serious problem, to a point where the President of the United States had to declare an emergency situation on the issue of the use of opioid. Dahil nga po nagbukas sila ng paraan na kumalat po ang gumagamit ng opium in the form of some substances derived from opium. Ngayon may problema sila sa droga. We don't want our country to be exposed to this danger. Isipin nyo inyong mga anak, isipin nyo inyong mga mahal sa buhay. Sabi nila, mura. Yun ang problema. Baka mamaya lahat ng mga bata rito addicted na sa marijuana. It will be too late by then, as even the campaign of the President would have failed. Today, the President is engaged in an all-out war on drugs. We support him on that. I personally support the effort of the President to put a stop to the drug problem in the Philippines. And now here we are talking about opening a small window and assuring everybody we will research on it further. Ang tanong ko po bakit hindi natin i-research muna? Pag talagang solid na ang ating findings, doon tayo humarap kay Pangulong Duterte. Kailangan po ito, Mr. President, sapagkat ito'y bunga ng pag-aaral at pagsusuri ng ating mga dalubhasa. But today, all you can do is mention testimonials from other countries, which are being denied also officially by many countries now. They're saying they committed a mistake in legalizing medicinal marijuana. The United States cannot move. The U.S. Congress doesn't want to touch the issue because they have been forewarned. Do not legalize the so-called medicinal marijuana as it is presented. It is very damaging to the good health and minds of our children. Ang Pilipino po ay angat sa ating kagalingan sa pag-iisip. Ang Pilipino po ay angat sa karunungan at sipag. Bakit natin bibigyan ng marijuana in whatever form? Samantalang ito'y illegal na ngayon, panatiliin natin illegal. Kung gusto niyong pag-aralan ang benepisyo, pag-aralan natin. Kung gusto niyong gumawa ng batas, bibigyan ng laya ang pag-aaral, susuporta ko ron. Pero hindi pwedeng ang batas ay mauna sa research. The law that should be passed by all Congresses, not just this Congress, should be based on solid information, solid facts, and solid technologies. Hindi yung sinabi naman namin pag-aralan pumalpak. Sino sasagot? One generation from now, if we are a nation of zombies, I use the word zombies, by that time, we will all be condemned by the next generation. That Congress passed this law, and look what happened to the young of the Philippines. And that's the reason why we stand up here to clarify these basic issues. And again, I reiterate my invitation to those who signed, it worried me to see 63 who co-signed the measure. Some of them are respected friends of mine. I'd like to believe that they were not properly aware of the intentions and the after effects of this piece of legislation. Uulitin ko po ang aking sinabi. Wala pa pong sinasabi si Congressman Halos-Dos na prueba. Ang sinasabi niya ay testimonial niya at ng mga ibang pinanggalingan ng kanilang pinaghahawakan.
Yun nga po, Mr. Speaker, iulit ko po, that's exactly what we're saying. You're asking for further research. Yun po yung title ng ating bill. And we are not giving it to anyone. We are only giving it to people who are in need of it. Hindi po sa ating common Filipino that wants to go to any dispensary or any hospital and ask for marijuana. Ito po ay binibigyan access lang sa mga taong nangangailangan. People with cancer, people with epilepsy, people with seizures. And 80% of those are children. Mr. Speaker, let us not deprive the right to medical access or medical use or access to medical relief ng ating mga kababayan by depriving this very simple yet organic component of the so-called cannabis. Ito po is very, very natural. Why I say organic, Mr. Speaker? Because, you know, even in our very own bodies, we have a receptor called endocannabinoids. In our own bodies, nasa katawan po natin yan, Mr. Speaker. You can ask any doctor, and he will confirm that there are endocannabinoids receptors in our bodies. Now, why is it even called endocannabinoids? Because it is receptors just like melatonin that produces the natural sleep and that is organic to our body. Yun din po ang use ng endocannabinoids sa katawan po natin. Ano po yung nakakatulong doon? Cannabinoids lang rin po. You know, this special component of this plant cannot be found anywhere in any plant in the world, but only in this cannabis or so-called marijuana that we all fear. And true, Mr. Speaker, there is a truth that it should be feared because it could be used for abuse. That is why this bill has nothing to do with marijuana. It has something to do with a component only found in the plant that is not prone to abuse, that does not get you high, that does not get you addicted. Itong cannabidiol, we cannot produce it chemically. We cannot replicate it with any other plant. So ano po yung magagawin natin, Mr. Speaker? We have no other choice. Kung pwede po natin makuha to sa malunggay, hindi na dapat natin to pinag-uusapan. Pero hindi po natin makukuha sa any other plant dito sa buong mundo. It is only found in marijuana or cannabis. That is why it is very imperative that we do further research. Tayo po, dito sa ating bansa. So we can extract the benefits from that, from the so-called THC, yung kinatatakutan po ng ating interpolator ngayon, na maibigay po natin sa ating mga pasyente na humihingi po ng lunas sa ilang mga sakit. And 80% po ay ang mga bata. Kung makita mo lang po, you have mentioned, Mr. Speaker, that you have 2 adoptive daughters. Ako rin po, pamangkin ko, may problema po. You know, my sister's daughter has developmental delay and has some seizures. And nakakalungkot po na kailangan po niya pumuntang US just to get access na nakakatulong po, proven. Like what we are saying, this is not just a testimony. This is something that I have proven already. And some of our mothers that we are saying na kunyari may curative or palliative, that seems, that just, nasa atin na po, hindi po natin alam kung hindi po natin mapoprove na walang curative effect. In fact, in one case, Mrs. Rosal, who had 4th stage cancer, terminally ill, waiting to die, is now right now with us. And she is now cured because she has been staying in the US for 4 years, for 2 years. Nakakakuha po siya ng access sa ating medical cannabis. And now, that is living proof na nakakatulong. But don't take my word for it. Kasi hindi po natin alam until we pass this bill. Hindi po natin alam until we do further research on the bill. Mr. Speaker, the Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002 recognized the medical use of drugs classified as dangerous drugs, including marijuana, when it said in Section 2, the government shall, however, aim to achieve a balance in the National Drug Control Program so that people with legitimate, I repeat, legitimate medical needs are not prevented from being treated with adequate amounts of appropriate medications, which include the use of dangerous drugs. Yun lang po yung hinihingi natin, Mr. Speaker. We are not trying to pass marijuana. In fact, during the first committee hearing, medyo na-sensationalize po yun because right after we passed death penalty sa ating sa drug war ng ating presidente, the next day we had a committee hearing on this specific bill. And nakakatuwa po because PDEA supported it. Dangerous Drugs Board supported it. Medical practitioners supported it. Patients were there. Everyone was there. Para mapag-usapan, para mapakita sa ating mga mamamayan na meron talagang benefits itong misinformed or demonized drug na ito. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope we do further research. And right now, since we don't have access to it, we can only believe, we can only go to YouTube, we can only go to Facebook to see kung meron ba talagang meron ba talagang benefits itong drug na to. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, once we pass this, ako po mismo, tatayo uli dito para ipakita sa iyo in numbers, in statistics, in proof na meron po talagang beneficial effect itong cannabis. But until we pass this bill, we will never know. Just like you are asking us for proof, we are asking you po for proof that this drug is addictive, that people committed suicide because of this drug, that this drug is bad, and that you do not have any medical proof for this drug. Ganun rin po ang may ibabato natin sa ating Ginoo na nag-interpolate. Ganun rin po kadali. But until then, we both don't know until we pass this, so we can already start doing further research on this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. I move for a 1-minute recess.
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move for a 1-minute suspension.
session suspended. Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, the gentleman from Zamboanga mentioned a lot of assumptions which I'd like to question. But before that, I'd like to ask him one clear, simple question. They keep on saying this is what's happening in abroad, in the other countries, in foreign land. Is he aware of the problem of opioid that is now poised against the American society and the action that was required of the President of the United States declaring an emergency situation on the problem of opioid? Yun po ba'y napag-usapan nyo, napag-aralan nyo?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Wala po bang relasyon yan, opioid and Cabinol?
Wala po, Mr. Speaker. That's like comparing apples and oranges. Opioids is not
So you are
cannabis.
standing pat on your position. Opioid and cannabinoid are two different substances
Yes,
which could alter each other's effects on one another. Iba-iba
Yes,
epekto.
yes, Mr. Speaker.
Binanggit din ninyo na yung melatonin ay herbal in nature at pinapayagan to induce sleep. Ginagamit yung dahilan, bakit itong cannabinoid derived from marijuana cannot be allowed? Iba po yung substance ng melatonin
Yes po.
na nagbibigay ng paraan sa mahimbing na tulog. At iba po yung cannabinoid na galing po sa marijuana. O dinideny din ninyo na galing sa marijuana itong ating pinag-uusapang substance.
No po.
Does cannabinoid come from marijuana or no?
Yes po. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Tama po. So therefore, we are talking about opening a different outlook on the usage of marijuana. That's what you intend to
No po,
accomplish.
Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, no, you might have misheard me. What we are trying to do, or ang sinasabi ko lang po, is comparing natural receptors that are found in our body, just like melatonin. Melatonin and you know, melatonin is a natural drug in our body that we produce or excrete. Yun din po ang cannabinoids. Yun lang po. I am not trying to say that it's one of the same, but I'm comparing it, that these are also receptors found in our body. And these endocannabinoids, just like derived from the word cannabis, is also a natural receptor found in our body, just like melatonin, which produces natural urge to sleep ng ating katawan. That is why I'm saying that this is very organic. Hindi po to chemical na ginagawa po natin. Gawa po to ng ating sariling katawan na pinoproduce. Pag kulang po yan, that's why we take melatonin para madagdagan po yung pagkukulang sa ating katawan para makatulog po tayo. Yun din po yung endocannabinoids. Kung kulang po sa ating katawan yan, saan po natin makukuha yan? Hindi po natin makukuha yan sa melatonin or hindi po natin makukuha yan sa biogesic. That's the reason why it's called endocannabinoids. Because the only thing that can relieve of the lack of it is cannabis. Saan po natin makukuha yun, Mr. Speaker, if not for that plant?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to stress for the record that the example that the gentleman is citing and that of melatonin has never been considered a dangerous drug. And the melatonin substance within our system has never been questioned as being helped by taking a melatonin pill, which has never been declared a dangerous drug. What we're talking about now is the opening of the floodgates of people changing their attitudes on an assumption that it will be good for them. Assumption, because there is no proof that it will be good for them. Meanwhile, studies after studies have been made that marijuana addiction is harmful to anyone. Kung meron mga nakalusot sa atin, magpasalamat na lang kayo na hindi kayo lumundag sa building at hindi kayo lumipad na akala nyo meron na kayong pakpak. Because marijuana definitely is a dangerous drug. Marijuana has always been considered as injurious and not helpful to one's health. What this bill aims to do is precisely to justify that certain ailments, certain painful ailments, can be alleviated by the substance called cannabinoid. Eh yun po'y pain alleviating. Marami po tayong mga painkillers. Ang ating Pangulo, gumagamit po ng fentanyl. Publicly stated that. It's a very effective medicine to alleviate the pain of a patient requiring a painkiller. Pero hindi po siya gumagamit ng marijuana to improve his condition. And he is angry as if he would want to make his blood boil, is to tell him that drugs can be beneficial to a Filipino suffering from pain.
Mr. Speaker,
Kaya sinasabi ko nga po, kayo naman ang mga belonging to the supermajority, ma-justify po ba ninyo ito sa Pangulo na ito naman cannabinoid lang, Mr. President. Hindi naman po ito shabu. Kung nga hinahanap natin, alternative substance, even those belonging to the dangerous drug list, shabu is pain relieving. You must admit when you are a shabu addict, hindi po na kayo makakaramdam ng hirap ng katawan. Yun ang sinasabi nila, kaya kami nagsasabu para makalimutan namin ang paghihirap namin.
hindi po totoo
Pero
yan,
yun
Mr.
po ba
Speaker.
ma-justify ninyo in whatever form?
Mr. Speaker, painkillers, as simply put, cannot stop 40 seizures a day. That's what I'm trying to say. You're saying that any painkiller, Mr. Speaker, is available in the market na kaya gamutin ang tao na nagkakasakit. But if someone with epilepsy, if someone who has 100 to 50 seizures a day, ay hindi po magagamot ng painkiller. And Mr. Speaker, to answer you on your question, no, shabu is not a painkiller. Cocaine is not a painkiller. In fact, there are recent studies have shown that cannabis can treat the opioid crisis in the United States. 33 states of the US, almost the whole country, has already approved not just the medical use of cannabis, but recreational. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say, kung sila nga ipinapasa, not even the medical use, but recreational, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to explode? Are they trying to poison their citizens? Is there a syndicate that is spreading and changing the minds of these states from passing a bill to give them access not only to medical, but recreational use of the bill? I don't think so, Mr. Speaker. These are first world countries that have more the capability to do further research, to know, to understand, and to see kung meron po talagang for medicinal effect itong cannabis. Yet no one is stopping. In fact, Canada is passing by 2018 for the whole country the recreational and the medicinal use of cannabis. So I'd like to reiterate, Mr. Speaker, hindi po yun ang pinapasa natin dito ngayon. Hindi po recreational ang pinapasa natin. This is why I don't even want to get into comparison of what is happening in the other countries, in the United States and in Canada. In fact, ang problema natin ngayon is to reclassify this so-called drug under the Dangerous Drug Act, marijuana, so we can do further research. Kasi hanggang hindi po natin na ipapasa tong bill na to, hindi po natin malalaman ang medicinal benefits of cannabis. Because up to now, up to this very day, it stays as a prohibitive drug, which will stay as a prohibitive drug. But what we are trying to say is if we can give access to extract the medicinal component of the so-called drug para naman mabigyan aral. Para pag na-prove na po natin na merong medicinal components or medicinal benefits itong plant, maibigyan na po natin ang ating mamamayan. That is all.
Mr. Speaker, this is to graciously remind our sponsor and our interpellator that for this interpellation, the 1 hour that we allot under the rules for a debate has already expired.
What's the pleasure of the Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, we are not telling stories to each other. We are not even just rebutting each other. We are trying to clarify the issues involved in this very important measure. Sa pananaw po ng marami, pag ito'y pinasa ng Kongreso, magbubukas ng daan para sa paggamit ng marijuana ng lahat. Kaya po yun ang aming tinutumbok. Meron po ba silang may pakikitang prueba na dapat buksan ang bintana ng marijuana para po naman maging katanggap-tanggap sa ating mga mamamayan? Dahil kung ipapasa lang natin ito dahil sa may limit tayo sa interpellation, then I move that we be given ample time to interpellate further because I've just started. Marami po ako talagang dapat tanungin, natatanungin ko sa kanila na inaasahan kong sasagutin nila for the record. So that when we make a decision to vote for or against this measure, we are voting on the basis of solid facts and information. Hindi po yung pinakiusapan tayo, hindi po yung pinilit tayo, hindi po yung nakisama tayo. Panindigan natin ang ating desisyon, whatever it comes to when the time for voting is made. So at this point, I move that the Majority Floor Leader allows us to continue or maybe continue tomorrow or next week because I notice wala na po tayong sapat na bilang ngayon. If the members are already tired of listening to the same subject, we move to adjourn today, continue the interpellation next week.
Majority Leader, please approach the chair. Session
Mr.
suspended.
Speaker, I move for suspension.
Maka-break ako, baka may ma-pick up mo.
Session resume.
Ako rin. I'd like to speak. 2 minutes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we understand the concern of the Honorable Atienza for the passage of a quality legislation and for the well ventilation of the issues in the debate. We are reckoning with the 1 hour limitation to debate because for this bill, there are other members who also wish to interpellate. We have the Honorable Del Mar and the Honorable Zubiri who are also listed to interpolate the sponsor, Mr. Speaker.
Manong Lito ulit. Balik na lang si Manong Lito ulit, pwede. Kung pwede. After the Elmar and ano.
And when you resume, you will go another hour.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Congressman
with
Atienza.
respect to the position of the majority floor leader, we have exhausted our 1 hour today. Since there are other members who would like to interpolate further, we're giving way. But we would like to request him that next week when we resume the interpellation, we will go back to the rostrum and be given another hour.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we will proceed with the reservation, Mr. Speaker, that we will continue with the interpellation. But for now, may we just give way to other members who also wish to interpolate. And we'd like to thank the Honorable Atienza for this.
The manifestation of Congressman Atienza is noted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, did I get an assurance that I will resume my interpellation next week after the other two have been given way?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, to continue with the sponsorship, I move that we recognize the Honorable Albano.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And for the next interpellator, Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Raul Del Mar.
Thank you, Mr.
Congressman
Speaker.
Raul Dilmar is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. And thank you especially to the principal sponsor who has acceded to another interpellation, but he wants, because of the lateness of the hour, he wants this on a shortened to a manifestation level. So I'll try to do that, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, thank you very much. We're very willing to the gentleman from Cebu, who is, again, a colleague of my father.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. But I hope that as I go over some points one by one, that after every point, if the sponsor wishes to reply to that point, then that can be done. Then after his reply, then I can go ahead with the succeeding manifestations and observations. So I will proceed, Mr. Speaker. My plea is for caution in considering House Bill number 6517, which would allow access to marijuana and expand research on its medical properties. Allow me to take up some points that must be looked into before the bill should move further. First, definition of terms. On the title, the definition of terms, the bill must define more clearly marijuana by including the phrase found in Republic Act number 9165, the Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002, namely, open quotation, cannabis or commonly known as marijuana or Indian hemp or by its any other name, close quotation. May I emphasize cannabis or commonly known as marijuana. So perhaps this can be included in the title. An act providing compassionate and right of access to medical cannabis or marijuana. To make it clear, Mr. Speaker, because we saw a bill before approved and the public only knew after that it was a bill on contraceptives which induce abortion, because what was highlighted in the title of the bill was reproductive health. And so, nobody argued against a bill on reproductive health. So to set things clear, after cannabis, there must be the word of or marijuana at the proper time.
That will
Principal
be an
sponsor.
amendment, Mr. Speaker. And I think, Mr. Speaker, cannabis and marijuana are one and the same. But if you use marijuana, there's a stigma on what we call marijuana because we cannot actually separate what is recreational marijuana, Mr. Speaker, and medicinal marijuana. That's why we place it in the bill, precisely medical cannabis, Mr. Speaker, just to remove the stigma of what we call recreational marijuana, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, incongruous purpose, awful timing. The sponsor himself raised this question. Why are you pushing for the legalization of medical marijuana when we are at war against illegal drugs? Indeed, at a time when so much efforts and resources of government are used to curb drug addiction, when the issue has rocked and divided the nation, why increase the risk of having more drug addicts through this so-called legalized marijuana? Why add another problem to the heap of problems spawned by illegal drugs?
Actually, Mr. Speaker, we are not decriminalizing the use of marijuana. Actually, marijuana is still under the prohibited drugs, Mr. Speaker. That's why we're saying it is here, we are calling it medicinal marijuana with access only to patients and not to everybody. And even the access, the use and the growing would all be controlled and regulated by the PIDEA, the DDB, the Department of Health, and the government, Mr. Speaker. So we are not opening marijuana or cannabis to everybody, Mr. Speaker. But we are just allowing access to its medicinal properties, to its medical use, to our patients, Mr. Speaker, especially to those who have epilepsy, glaucoma, cancer, and for those who have debilitating diseases, Mr. Speaker. That's all, Mr. Speaker. We are not decriminalizing the drug. All the prohibitions against the drug are still in place, Mr. Speaker.
Third, Mr. Speaker, the myth of control. Despite the avowed intent to strictly regulate the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes, people who wish to profit can always find ways to go around the law, opening the floodgates, so to speak, Mr. Speaker. The U.S. recently discovered, to its horror, that allowing opioids for medical purposes has led to an epidemic in the number of drug addicts. Despite its regulatory manpower and resources, which our country is sorely looking in, the U.S. has not been able to check profiteering by drug companies, doctors, and regulators of opioids, and the purported use of marijuana for medicine could easily lead to the use of marijuana for recreation, which inevitably results in a wider spread of drug addiction. And on this point, the Philippine Medical Association, the country's largest group of doctors, issued a statement last November 7th opposing the legalization of medical marijuana, warning that the bill could lead to diversion of cannabis for recreational use.
Mr. Speaker, the use of recreational marijuana has been prevalent in our country in the 1960s and in the 1970s, Mr. Speaker. And many of us, including this representation, have used the recreational marijuana. And it came to a point that we used it during the 70s because of this flower people thing, Mr. Speaker. And until now, some are still using it. Maybe in the Cordillera, in Baguio. But I don't see any, like in the drug war, I don't see any incidents of tokhang, addicts, or zombies, especially in those regions. And in those regions of the Cordillera where marijuana plants thrive by the hundreds of hectares, Mr. Speaker, I never saw any incident of zombies running around and biting people and or eating people in those regions, especially in Baguio and in the Cordillera, Mr. Speaker. And also, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is when it comes to the enforcement of the law, Mr. Speaker, our country, I know, is lacking in resources to enforce the law. But actually, our war on drugs are being directed now towards a more dangerous threat, maybe on, what's this, shabu. How do you call that substance? Methamphetamine something. Methamphetamine something. And I didn't receive any reports of heinous crimes being committed in those areas that grow marijuana illegally there. And it's up to the police force now, and it's up to Congress to give ample budget to our police force to contain shabu and this, if there is marijuana problem, which is only about, I think, in our statistics, 3% here in this country for those people who are using marijuana. And in our rehab centers, there's a very small amount of people who are addicted to recreational marijuana, Mr. Speaker.
Fourth, highly dangerous drug, Mr. Speaker. Medical evidence shows that marijuana is highly dangerous in and of itself. The United Nations 1961 Single Convention on Narcotics define it dangerous and highly addictive. The University of Manila Technical Working Group on Medical Cannabis has opposed the proposed law, citing that it poses a serious threat to public health. Adverse effects on health and its addictive properties should make us slow down before passing a law that would open another floodgate for dangerous drugs.
I agree with that position, Mr. Speaker, and I agree with the United Nations position that marijuana is considered as a dangerous drug, and also I agree with our medical societies here that marijuana is a dangerous drug, Mr. Speaker. That's why we're not decriminalizing the drug, Mr. Speaker. As I've said, in this bill, we're just providing research and access and to be given only to qualified patients and through doctors that have S2 licenses, Mr. Speaker. So this is like morphine, a prohibited drug, and this drug cannot be given to any Tom, Dick, and Harry or any Juan or Pedro here in this country, Mr. Speaker. That's why we placed plenty of plenty of research here, and we place safeguards here in this bill that, one, we cannot smoke this plant. Second, it cannot be given in its raw form, Mr. Speaker. And also, it cannot be given unless approved by the FDA, Mr. Speaker.
Fifth, unnecessary and illusory, Mr. Speaker. Marijuana is not something with miraculous properties of healing. Medicines tested and approved by the Food and Drug Administration as legal, safe, and effective are available to cure the ailments sought to be treated. If there are patients that don't respond to standard treatment, the University of Manila contends that existing law already provides the means to get it. No need for a new legislation. What could happen is that marijuana prescribed for patients could lead to their drug addiction, a state that could be worse than the illness sought to be treated. Worse, even those who are not sick might use the access to feed existing addiction.
Mr. Speaker, on the miraculous cure, Mr. Speaker, only the saints and God can give a miraculous cure, Mr. Speaker. And I agree, Mr. Speaker, that, that's why we cannot, again, in this bill, we don't give access to, to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, Mr. Speaker. It's very explicit in this bill that we cannot give any marijuana or cannabis in its raw form or in any other form that is not approved by the FDA. Now, if it has addictive, properties, Mr. Speaker, it's like hypertension, Mr. Speaker. I myself have hypertension, suffering from hypertension, Mr. Speaker, and I've been taking these drugs for about 20 years now, and I've been taking it very religiously every morning and night just to control and maintain my blood pressure, Mr. Speaker. So, like this cannabis medication, Mr. Speaker, if you also, if maybe you would be taking it, if you have epilepsy, if you will be taking it for 20 years to maintain your seizures, then I don't think you will be called an addict for taking this drug every day for 5 or 20 years, just like any other drug, like drugs for hypertension, Mr. Speaker.
6, Mr. Speaker. More countries banning marijuana than those allowing it. The sponsor stated that 27 countries have legalized marijuana. However, a far greater majority of 168 countries have not. Even in the U.S., only 29 states have passed such laws. That should be sobering if we go by numbers. Still, the countries allowing marijuana should not necessarily be our model. Local conditions may not be similar to theirs.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I agree. But the majority of the United States, the people of the United States have already, if you're talking of 30 states already, that's more than the majority of the countries majority of the states in that country. And Uruguay and Canada has already legalized even recreational marijuana in the entire country. And if you're talking of about 25 or 30 countries legalizing medicinal marijuana, but those countries are first world countries already, Mr. Speaker. Those are China, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, every country that has already conducted very extensive research on medicinal marijuana, and they found out that marijuana is very beneficial, especially to their citizens and especially to those who are in need of medicinal marijuana, Mr. Speaker.
7th, Mr. Speaker, the Philippines under Republic Act number 9165 committed to the UN 1961 Single Convention on Narcotics as part of the law of the land. The said UN Convention places marijuana or cannabis under the schedule of dangerous drugs having no medicinal use with high addictive potential.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think it's part of the law of our land, but it's just a part of our agreement, maybe with the United Nations, this single convention on narcotic drugs. But it just provides it in its preamble, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, all countries that have signed this 1961 and amended 1972 protocol have already violated their protocol, Mr. Speaker, especially the United States, Mr. Speaker, which is the biggest contributor to the United Nations, Mr. Speaker. So I don't
And-
think there will be any sanction against us if we would adopt medical research and providing our citizens access, especially those who are sick, because the right to health is primordial also to the UN Convention to Health, Mr. Speaker. So it may supersede this single convention protocol, Mr. Speaker.
And eighth, and finally, many other ills afflict the nation. Legalizing marijuana, even for medicinal purposes, is divisive to the nation and fraught with danger. We need to be careful and study the proposal a lot more. As we in the Visayas and Mindanao say, hinay-hinay lang. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, and colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But may I just comment on that last? Hinay-hinay lang, Mr. Speaker. I agree, Mr. Speaker, with that hinay-hinay lang. But one thing, Mr. Speaker, there is, in Tagalog may kasabihan, aanuhin pa ang damo kung patay na ang kabayo. And also, Mr. Speaker, these moms for marijuana are in dire need already of this medicine, Mr. Speaker. They have already provided their entire tending, loving care to their children, Mr. Speaker. And there was already a casualty. One of their babies already passed away, Mr. Speaker. I think 10 babies already has passed away, Mr. Speaker. So, kahit na hinay-hinay lang, Mr. Speaker, I would like to remind the gentleman from Cebu, yun nga, yung sabi ng mga kasabihan ng mga dito sa Luzon, aanuin pa ang damo kung patay na ang kabayo. Damo, in the sense yung damo na kinakain ng kabayo, Mr. Speaker. Hindi po yung damo na marijuana.
So, as I started on the title, I will end on the title, Mr. Speaker. House Bill number 6517, an act providing compassionate and right of access to medical cannabis, I hope, or marijuana is added, and expanding research into its medicinal properties. I say yes to the first part, but no to the second part, because what is needed is that we should have additional research into its medicinal properties first before we go into access to medical cannabis or marijuana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Principal Sponsor, and thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Manong Raul.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the last to interpolate is the representative of the 3rd District of Bukidnon, Representative Manuel Subiri. So moved.
Congressman Subiri is recognized.
Good afternoon, Speaker. Good afternoon, my dear colleagues. After listening to all of our colleagues discussing the medicinal effect of supposedly cannabis or marijuana, let me shed some facts. I think more than asking questions, I would rather give my experience on the matter, my little experience based on what my relatives have been through this past few months. Are we discussing, number one, the plant itself or the medicine derived from the plant, Mr. Speaker?
The medicine derived from the plant, of course, Mr.
Okay.
Speaker.
Based on the experience I had a few months ago, because I was always a non-believer of illegal drugs, or I don't even do drugs, I don't do marijuana, I don't even smoke cigarettes, Mr. Speaker. But when I saw the effect of what they called Jaden's juice on a relative of mine who had 14 seizures a day to the point that she ended up in the ICU several times, the parents were so afraid for her life that they tried Jaden's juice that came from the US.
May I ask what's Jaden's juice, Mr.
It is a medicine, supposedly, or it is a medicine that is 28 parts CBD and 1 part THC, derived from the plant. It is in oil-based form. It is a drop, in form of drops.
Yes.
After
Mr.
a few months, this was early this year, this lady used it several times every day. According to them, it was being used in the States, approved in most of the states of the US. Her seizures, from 14 seizures of epilepsy a day, it became 2 episodes since August of this year. Up to this day, 2 epilepsy seizures lang po ang kanyang na-experience. So, if we are discussing the problem we're having with the plant, everybody is so focused on the plant itself. I agree. We shouldn't be seeing any of that plant here in our country. But if it is derived and made into a medicine, or for example, in a form of drops or liquid form or oil form, then maybe, as long as it is approved by the local FDA, PIDEA, or whoever agency it is, for as long as it works and it is safe and it is not detrimental to the health of the individual, then I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be used. Why? My dear Speaker, if you abuse on your cough syrup, you will not wake up the next morning. If you abuse on an upper or a downer that you can get in mercury drug, you will not wake up in the morning. Kasi patay ka na po. Ma-overdose po kayo. It is basically like an illegal drug as well. So what am I trying to drive at? Or let me finish my second example. My second experience, a relative of mine that was dying of cancer, my uncle. He couldn't handle his stage 4 cancer pain. For several months, he would be crying. He couldn't sleep. He didn't have, they were giving him medicine, but he couldn't handle the pain. He did not even have 1 hour of sleep every day. I don't know how he survived. So they made him try the same medicine, but in suppository form. It is in a form of suppository, pero liquid oil, pero nasa form po ng suppository. This made him calm down. It eased his pain tremendously. He was able to eat until his last breath. He was happy and he was at peace. So these are the experiences, because I was a non-believer. But if you're going to discuss about bringing the plant here, growing the plant here, and, you know, I don't agree with it. But for as long as it is FDA approved, both from the US and the Philippines, together with the approval of the PIDEA and the other agencies, I think we should look at it, look into the matter, because I think that especially for those who are having a hard time taking drugs, tablets, by a handful, for example, this lady, this cousin of, or this relative of mine, she would take 4 to 5 tablets of different medicines a day, 3 times a day, to the point that her kidneys were failing. So I don't think it's just for us to say, yes, it's good for you. No, it's not good for you. Let us study, let us review it, because we're already 2017, and we have approved so many drugs that they are right now in mercury drug that I think is illegal if you just sell and give it away. So if that's the case, you should take all the downers, all the uppers, and all the cough syrups out of the counter of these mercury drugs and all these other drug facilities. So I think, to be fair to everyone involved, especially those patients that need help the most, let us review and study it carefully. While we are deliberating, maybe we can get more facts, not just from us, but from abroad, from Europe to the US. Maybe they can shed light to the benefits of this medicine. I will not call it medicinal marijuana because I don't think it's medicinal marijuana itself. It is derived from the plant that they make they turn it into a medicine through oil or liquid form. So I guess, Mr. Speaker, I just want to share my experience because that experience just happened this year. 2 people taking the same medicine derived from the plant itself. So that's all. Marami pong salamat, ating mga colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Mr.
much
Speaker.
for enlightening us, Congressman Manny Subiri.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 6517.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up business for Thursday and Friday.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider the omnibus approval on second reading of the following local bills. First, 6575, 6577, 6584, 6586, 6587, 2483, 2484, 6591, 6592, 6607, 6608, 6618, 6620, 2849, 639, 1955, 6632, and 6633, and lastly 6634.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we, for these local measures, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
There being no interpellations, Mr. Speaker, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
There being no amendments, Mr. Speaker, individual or that coming from the committee, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve, I move for the omnibus approval on second reading of the aforesaid local measures.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. All those who are in favor of the bill enumerated by the majority leader, say aye. Aye. Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, this is another local bill. However, we take this up in isolation because we have a minor amendment on this bill. So I move that we take up the approval on second reading of House Bill number 6621 contained in Committee Report number 466. And please direct our Secretary General to read the title of the measure.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Bill number 6621.
House Bill number 6621, an act increasing the bed capacity of the Adela Serra T. Memorial Medical Center in Tandag City, province of Surigao del Sur, from 200 to 1,000 beds, upgrading its services and facilities, authorizing the increase of its medical personnel.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of sponsorship and debate.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
There being no interpellations, Mr. Speaker, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
So this is to introduce an individual amendment, Mr. Speaker, that on section 1, in line 12, we delete the phrase 1,000, and in lieu thereof, we insert the phrase 500. May we know if this is acceptable to the sponsor?
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
Majority
With
Leader?
that, Mr., I move that we approve the amendment as stated.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
And then next, Mr. Speaker, that on section 4, line 25, we delete the phrase 1,000, and in lieu thereof, we insert the phrase 500. May we know, Mr. Speaker, if this is likewise acceptable to the sponsor?
What does the sponsor say?
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader?
I therefore move, Mr. Speaker, that we approve the amendment as aforestated.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Last, Mr. Speaker, I move that we amend the title of the bill to read as follows. An act increasing the bed capacity of the Adela Sera T Memorial Medical Center in Tandag City, province of Surigao del Sur, from 200 to 500 beds, upgrading its services and facilities, authorizing the increase of its medical personnel, and appropriating funds therefore. May we know, Mr. Speaker, if this is also
What does the
acceptable to
sponsor say?
I accept the amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I therefore move for the approval of the amendment as stated.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 6621 as amended.
All those who are in favor of House Bill number 6621 as amended, say aye. Aye. Those are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 6621 is approved on second reading.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up additional reference of business.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the resolutions.
Additional reference of business resolutions, House Solution 1460, direct the Committee on Ways and Means to conduct an investigation on the proliferation of the off-dock container yard container freight stations, Representative Sharon Green.
Majority Leader. At the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1461, calling on the House to give honor and recognition to Krisha Lynn Tabora, Representative Del Rosario.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1462, congratulating and commending the San Beda College Red Lions basketball team, Representative Uy Barreta.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1464, direct the appropriate committee to conduct an inquiry on the implementation of Proclamation Number 518 Series of 1990, Representative Benitez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1465, extending congratulations to Miss Philippines Karen Ibasco, Representative Nieto.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1466, extending congratulations to Teresita Winwin Marquez, Representative Nieto.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1467, commending Charlene Handik, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1468, direct the appropriate committee to investigate the continued proliferation of illegal drugs in our correctional facilities, Representative Alejano.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1469, commending the assigned security forces for the successful conduct of security operations at the recent ASEAN Summit, Representative Alejano.
To the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution 1470, honoring and remembering the members of the armed forces and the Philippine National Police who have made the ultimate sacrifice in order to defend and recover the city of Marawi, Representative Alejano.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security and the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Resolution 1471, congratulating commending Krisha Lynn Tabora, Representative Alejano.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1472 expressing the profound condolences of the House to the family of Jesus S. Salceda Sr., former Mayor Polangi Albay, and the father of Representative Joey Sartes Salceda of the 2nd District of Albay, Representatives Alvarez, Fariñas, and Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we include additional co-authors to House Bill numbers 6617, 6587, 1411, and House Resolutions 243 and 1418 as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, the Senate has passed with amendments several House bills seeking to grant and renew franchises to certain companies, namely House Bill numbers 4636, 5063, 5064, 5175, 5176, 5177, 5211, and 5212. We have been informed that the Committee on Legislative Franchises and sponsor of said bills do not concur with some amendments introduced by the Senate to said measures. And in accordance with our rules, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes in said House bills. Number 1, Representative Franz Alvarez. Number 2, Xavier Jesus Romualdo. Number 3, Sherwin Tugna. Number 4, Arthur Defensor Jr. Number 5, Aurelio Gonzalez Jr. Number 6, Jose Enrique Garcia III. Number 7, Anthony Bravo. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 6844 and Senate Bill number 1235 on revealing the source of published news or information obtained in confidence. Number 1, Representative Bernadette B.H. Herrera D. Number 2, Ben-Hur Lopez Jr. Number 3, Raul Del Mar. Number 4, Eugene Michael De Vera. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider the adoption of House Resolution number 1411 contained in Committee Report number 458. And for this purpose, kindly direct our Secretary General to read the title of the resolution.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 1411, resolution expressing the profound appreciation of the House of Representatives on behalf of the veterans of World War II to the United States Congress for the passage of the measure authorizing the conferment of the Congressional Gold Medal to the Filipino veterans of World War II, collectively in recognition of their dedicated service during World War II.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt House Resolution 1411.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Resolution number 243 contained in 461 and please direct our Secretary General to read the title of the resolution.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of Resolution number 243.
House Resolution 243, a resolution urging His Excellency President Rodrigo R. Duterte to issue an executive order amending Executive Order 248 dated May 29, 1995, Executive Order 248A dated August 14, 1995, and Executive Order 298 dated March 23, 2004 to implement an increase in travel allowances for local travels of government officials and personnel.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt House Resolution number 243.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up House Resolution number 1472 and please direct our Secretary General to read the title of the resolution.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of House Resolution number 1472.
House Resolution 1472, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of Jesus S. Salceda Sr., former Mayor of Polangi Albay, and the father of Representative Joey Salceda of the 2nd District of Albay.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt House Resolution number 1472.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn session until Monday, November 27 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Session is adjourned until Monday at 4 p.m., November 27, 2017.